Okay. No problem. Glad I can help you help me. All right, welcome to Olive Harvey College, one of the city colleges of Chicago. I'm Dr. Brandon Nichols, Vice President of Academic Affairs. We are honored and would like to express our sincerest appreciation to Governor J.B. Pritzker and the state of Illinois for allowing us to host the signing of the Education and Workforce Equity Act, House Bill 2170, at our state-of-the-art Transportation, Distribution, and Logistics Center. In addition, we would like to thank Chancellor Juan Salgado, President Kimberly Hollingsworth, for their transformative leadership to ensure that the City Colleges of Chicago continues to put students on the path for upward mobility and helps to build a more inclusive Chicago economy. As an educator at a predominantly Black and emerging Hispanic serving institution, new and continuing students will greatly benefit from the provisions included in this law to enhance high-quality learning with a heightened equity lens. Today is a milestone in expanding access, equity, and opportunity in the state of Illinois and our education system. Thank you for your time, and I would now like to introduce our Governor, J.B. Pritzker.
Well, thank you very much to Dr. Nichols, and good afternoon to everyone. A big thank you also to Chancellor Salgado, who does just an amazing job running city colleges, and of course to Olive Harvey, and to City Colleges system more broadly. Thank you for hosting us. I'm very proud to be joined today by Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton, by Leader Kimberly Lightford, Leader Marcus Evans, Leader, Chairman, Mr. Chairman L.G. Sims, Representatives Nick Smith and Cam Buckner, Robin Steans, the President of Advance Illinois, and Jack Wiese, the Executive Director of Alternative Schools Network. I may be the one who signs the bills, but the Education and Workforce Equity Act only got over the finish line because of the inimitable strength of many activists and advocates, researchers, and leaders in government, especially the Illinois Legislative Black Caucus. And I especially want to say thank you to Majority Leader, my friend, Kimberly Lightford, who, along with Carol Ammons, ushered this bill through and really made it happen. I also want to recognize Sarah Labadie, the Associate Director of Policy at Women Employed, who helped make this law into one that truly supports the expansion of opportunity in our communities that have been denied that opportunity for so long. And as a longtime fighter for improving early childhood education, I'm particularly happy about the portion of the law that expands access to our early intervention programs, codifies more holistic standards for kindergarten, and improves the early disability identification process for young children. And Jack Wiest, while she couldn't be here to see this day, Maria's legacy is evident in this law, as it is in all of the progress that Illinois has made in securing a better future for our children. Whether it's the advancements in early childhood education, in K-12 education, and of course higher education and workforce development, this new law marks major accomplishments in our fight to overcome the inequities and the structural barriers that hold our learners back. Institutions like Olive Harvey open doors for our youngest adults and later in life learners too. So one of the best ways that we can increase economic opportunity for our residents, support working families, and get our strongest return on investment is to make it easier for Illinoisans to access education and workforce training. Since I took office 2 years ago, we've made 2- and 4-year college more affordable for Illinois' families by substantially expanding the monetary assistance program, expanding access to federal student assistance, and increasing funding for higher education institutions after years of disinvestment and neglect. The same goes for workforce development. Working with the General Assembly, my administration has incentivized businesses to provide apprenticeship training through tax credits, increased the number of apprenticeships through the Illinois Works Jobs program, and crafted a nationally recognized plan for strengthening career and technical education. The Education and Workforce Equity Act builds on all of that, supporting low-income students so that they can more easily attend our 4-year universities, reforming the way that students are placed in community college courses, and expanding the Illinois Teaching Excellence Program to attract more diverse and non-traditional candidates to the teaching profession. In short, it does better by the people of Illinois than ever before. And that's what this work is all about, especially as we pave our recovery from the still present COVID-19 crisis and the economic and health harms it has left in its wake. We must give our all to building an Illinois that is all in for the opportunities that our people deserve. And with the people standing with me today in this fight, I know that we will accomplish our goal. So thank you, and now I'm proud to turn it over to my colleague, my partner in governance, the inimitable Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Governor Pritzker, for that kind introduction and for your leadership that is best characterized by your courage, your collaborative spirit, and your vision in signing the Education and Workforce Equity Act to improve the educational pathways for all of Illinois' children, regardless of their zip code. To my friends and former colleagues of the Illinois Legislative Black Caucus, your work is so powerful, especially as you have advanced these 4 pillars to uproot systemic racism. You not only saw the problems, but you also felt them, recognized that you lived them, understood the history of them, and that helped you fight to solve them. Your pillars will have an historic impact on our entire state. I especially want to acknowledge Senator Majority Leader Kimberly Lightford and Leader Carol Ammons in her absence. Thank you for your leadership on this act and for being incredible champions for our children. To Dr. Nichols and your entire team here at Olive Harvey, thank you for hosting us and giving us such a warm welcome. And to all of today's special guests who have already been acknowledged, thank you for your advocacy and leadership that has brought us to this historic moment. Nelson Mandela said that education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. Today, we are on the far south side of Chicago at Olive Harvey College, in the heart of a community that is helping diverse students to dream big, explore their options, and be equipped with the most powerful weapon that can be used to change their families, their communities, and their world: education. Ensuring our young people are being educated early is really a part of my DNA, as my mother was a teacher both in the Chicago public school system and the city colleges of Chicago's system. My sister is a school teacher, and one of my daughters works at a school. And now the Education and Workforce Equity Act is going to continue to make a difference in what Governor Pritzker and I have been so focused on, and that is ensuring that children in every community, from cradle to careers, has the best opportunity possible. It improves measures to help with kindergarten readiness. It creates a whole child task force to focus on expanding trauma-responsive school services to help our most at-risk students. It has components to eliminate opportunity gaps for children of color, which are often caused in part by the shortage of teachers of color. And it has components that will help high school students to go to colleges like Olive Harvey that will help prepare them to enter the workforce with the knowledge, the skills, and abilities to have successful careers. In other words, true education equity is about ensuring that every student in Illinois, regardless of their zip code or income level, has access to the resources not just to graduate, but to soar. And we want all of our children to know that despite the messages they hear to the contrary, they are worthy of investment, they have options, and that we believe that anything is possible for their lives. Now, it is my honor to introduce one of the architects of this act, a woman who has been at the forefront of the fight for positive change for all people of Illinois, but especially for our children, Senate Majority Leader Kimberly Lightford.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor Stratton. Good afternoon. I just realized I left my glasses in the car, so I'm 0 for 2 today, so bear with me, please. Chancellor Salgado and our president here at Olive Harvey, Dr. Nichols, thank you for welcoming us on today. I've got to tell you, I spoke with Representative Nick Smith a few days back, and I said, hey, you know, we've been going strong on celebrating our education pillar. I'm so grateful of the governor wanting to spread this message. We like to be on the south side of Chicago in an education institution, and he said there's no better place than Olive Harvey for the work that they're doing in workforce development. So thank you, Representative Smith, and we're very happy that you accepted the invitation. I want to thank all of our advocates and our education stakeholders that are here today. They're not here just to celebrate at this point, but they've been a part of helping shape this. We spent months and months and months, and I want to thank you all, Jack and Robin and Sarah, for your participation as we were building out this pillar. So as we finish our tour celebrating the signing of the Education and Workforce Equity Act, I can say that the fight to ensure Illinois becomes a more equitable state for our Black and brown communities does not end here. And Representative Ammons and I, as my co-chair, we share that same sentiment, and we worked really hard in that vein. I grew up in a disadvantaged community, and I know firsthand how vital quality education was for me and is for the future. It has resulted in me being a successful Black woman in the legislative community. Though my hard work has gotten me to this point, I was surrounded by community members and great teachers who wanted to see me flourish, which is why I have demanded better for this state for more than 2 decades in the Illinois Senate. I know the importance of having a great support system and how it makes a difference. And I understand firsthand that it takes more than caring parents to break down the barriers our communities face. This is why I will never accept the norm of our Black youth not having a bright future and Black adults not being able to obtain successful careers. We must continue to push our message of letting all Illinois residents know that Black workers help build this economy and will only help make it grow. And as technology continues to accelerate, Black workers need the same resources and tools as any other race to ensure a more equitable Illinois. The only way to ensure that Black youth have a chance to make a living wage, support their future families, and prevent white supremacy from hindering them is to break down the barriers that stand in their way. That's why we created the Education and Workforce Development Pillar, to explore our state's education system and workforce development through an equity lens with the goal of ending centuries of systemic racism. We held 8 lengthy hearings focused on some of the most egregious examples of inequities that have held Black communities back for generations. And the inequities we found always centered around Black communities' access to good paying jobs. To ensure that this is not a continuous cycle, we have required the Illinois Workforce Innovation Board to conduct a feasibility study regarding the consolidation of all workforce development programs funded by the Federal Workforce and Innovation and Opportunity Act. If the study shows us a path forward, and I sure hope it will, and I'm looking forward to the results on May 1st, we will combine all of these programs created by the state of Illinois into one solitary agency to create greater access to job training for underserved populations and for those who need the support the most, and to put programs back in high schools where they are especially needed. We tasked the board with focusing on access for minorities, people with limited English proficiency, people with disabilities, and youth, and how it will increase equitable access to workforce resources. And we've asked them to look at avenues to maximize federal funding and recommendations for the future structure of workforce development programs. As long as I am a state senator, I will always be invested in our children's future. I've never accepted the status quo, and I will not let our system decide who goes to college and who goes to prison. Education is the root of our children's future. We want safe neighborhoods, education. We want better paying jobs, education. We want less government reliance, education. It is time that Black girls be empowered instead of demeaned and punished by those who feel threatened by their light. It is time that Black boys can be carefree and not seen as threatening because of the color of their skin. This is the absolute right thing to do, and I'm humbled to have led this effort. In fact, granting even one opportunity to our most vulnerable children means more to me than any accolade or position I can receive as a legislator. And I am more than honored for all the help that the Illinois Legislative Black Caucus received, as special help from our governor, who ensured that all of his administration, agency departments, his commissions, whomever we called on to help us through our research and data and best practices finding, they were all available. Thank you, Governor, for that support. And I'd also like to thank my colleagues for those who had enough courage to stand up and say the time is beyond right to make these advanced changes and ensuring that we rid Illinois of systemic racism. I mentioned the Black Caucus, but nothing can be done without working together in unity. And we stood together, we stood strong, we are a family, and we got this done. I want all our communities to celebrate this victory. Tomorrow is today, and I have already started following up and working on implementation to remove our children's barriers, to create more equitable paths. Our future is now. Thank you. I'd like to, oh, thanks. Thank you. And I did that without my glasses. I have a wonderful opportunity now to introduce the next speaker. Chairman Sims was one of the first members that I called. And I said, LG, I can't sleep. I have this vision. We have to do more than just march and protest. We have to come up with a way to enact policy and make those strong changes. And Senator Sims got it, like right away. And he took the lead and charge in our criminal justice pillar, criminal justice reform pillar, and I'm so happy that he's with us today. Please welcome Senator Sims to the podium.
Leader Lightford, thank you so much for your leadership and your vision for the creation of these pillars. Governor, thank you for signing the education and workforce development pillar. And as I have said often, putting the gubernatorial pen where your mouth is. Saying that policy is one thing is you can stand up and say policy is one thing, but to get out there, sign it into law is something very different. And of course, my former colleague, my good friend, our Lieutenant Governor Stratton, my former seat row mate in the Illinois House. We talked about these types of issues often, how we would make a difference on behalf of communities. Chancellor Salgado, thank you for hosting us, President Nichols in her absence, of course, President Hollowings in her absence, and of course, Dr. Nichols, who stepped in on her behalf. It is always a great day in the 17th District, and it is my honor to welcome you here. This moment is particularly personal. You know, John Dewey once said that education is not preparation for life, education is life itself. That's what we are preparing for. We are preparing for the next generation to go and achieve beyond their wildest dreams. This is a personal, this institution is personal for me because when my mother left the South, she left the South and she was in college and she came here to Chicago. As she was working and she had not finished college, she went to work downtown and she realized that her educational options and her career advancement was limited because she did not have the educational experiences necessary. What did she do? She came right here to Olive Harvey College to further her college education. And she often tells a story about the night when Richard Nixon resigned the presidency. She was right here in class, and I, as a toddler, was right there with her. As so many other working parents will do, they study and they take care of their children all at the same time. That is what the education and workforce pillar allows for us to do. It allows for individuals to invest in their dreams so that they can make a better community. I am so proud and honored to be able to stand here on behalf of the people of the 17th District and say thank you. Thank you to Governor Pritzker. Thank you to Lieutenant Governor Stratton. Thank you to the administrators of Olive Harvey College. But also, thank you to Senate Majority Leader Kimberly Lightford and the members of the Illinois Legislative Black Caucus who did not just want to stand by and protest. They wanted action. We seized on this clarion call to action and went to work. We focused on education and workforce development. We focused on healthcare. We focused on the creation of economic opportunities. And then we focused on, when there are failures in all those other three areas, the creation and the building equity into our criminal justice system. This reform movement is just that. It's a movement. So I am so proud to stand here as we stand together, celebrate this moment, but prepare for the next one. So thank you so much. It is an honor and privilege to be here, and it is also my distinct honor and privilege to bring to the podium my partner in progress, Leader Marcus Evans.
Thank you, Senator Sims, and again, it's such an honor to be here with such great leaders of this state. You know, I am a black man, and I live in a black community, and I attended a school that was majority black in Chicago Public Schools, Chicago State University, and I live in Avalon Park community, over 90% African-American community. So I am the black experience of Chicago. And in Springfield, and North St. Louis, and Dade County, Miami, and in Houston, and New York City, and Brooklyn, and Flatbush, all over this country, the black experience is similar. But the difference that we have here is that we have a black caucus under the leadership of Kim Lightford, and I really want people to understand that we are all leaders, all of the black caucus, but Kim Lightford, light shines a little bit differently because she had the vision and fruition to move forward on bold legislation, coupling all the ideas that were rejected in the past, put those ideas in a policy and move them forward in a very aggressive manner. But the bottom line is, of all these other places across the country in the black community, the black experience, we have an executive officer with a partner in progress in Juliana Stratton, who said, let's take this policy and move it forward. So thank you, Governor Pritzker, because without Governor Pritzker, we would not be here. We have filed bills we have pushed and fought under the leadership of Kim Lightford, under leadership in the House, and we've always hit a wall. We've hit a wall because of failed leadership. So thank you, Governor Pritzker. And again, he deserves the acknowledgement he needs because the Black Caucus agenda has moved forward because of Governor Pritzker, because of that ultimate pen to get things done. In our communities, we want action. And finally, action is here. Finally, we have the legislation that people all throughout are excited about. I was just in the back texting someone because I posted on social media about our healthcare pillar, how we're going to remove the government obstructions that existed in the past, and we're going to get things done for our community. So thank you to all of my colleagues, white, black, and other, and thank you, most importantly, Governor Pritzker, for not just talking about supporting, improving the black community, improving the unemployment, improving opportunity, but actually putting the pen to paper. Thank you, Governor Pritzker, and thank you to my Black Caucus colleagues for moving forward on progress. And I have the distinct pleasure to introduce my partner within the 17th district. There's 2 representatives, and the other is Nick Smith. Come on up, Nick Smith.
Thank you, Leader Evans, and good afternoon. Welcome, Governor, my colleagues in the Illinois Black Caucus, all of the educators and community leaders. Welcome to the mighty 34th District. Thank you, President Hollingsworth. Even though you're not here today, we work very closely together, and I thank you, Dr. Nichols, for standing in her place. And most importantly, as it was emphasized earlier, thank you, Governor, for signing our education pillar into law. A huge thank you to the education pillar co-chairs. And we can't say this enough, Senate Majority Leader Kim Lightford and House Leader Carol Ammons, for this tremendous amount of time and effort in getting this legislation across the finish line. I was a member of the Education Pillar Working Group, and I remember the countless planning sessions and discussions with colleagues, educators, and other stakeholders. Then transitioning that into actual joint committee subject matter hearings to educate and inform our colleagues and the rest of the public. All of that hard work brought us to this moment. When working through the education pillar, we realized many of the students in our community, when finishing high school, simply weren't prepared or had no desire to attend a traditional college or university. But they did desire to learn skills that would prepare them for a career. They desired to earn an honest living, buy a home, raise a family. So we decided to take a closer look into the workforce development programs in our state and how effective they operate. Do they serve those that most need it? Are they readily available in our community? And do they have the proper resources to be successful? A successful workforce development program produces successful students. Those students then use the skills and training they receive to gain employment and establish a career. What better place to make this important announcement than Olive Harvey College, who has been doing this work for years. With the addition of this wonderful transportation, distribution, and logistics center, Olive Harvey College has been able to increase their offerings. And that's a mouthful, so I'll just continue with TDL for short. I want to take a moment to give one example of one of the programs here at Olive Harvey that has just been brought to my attention recently. It's the Aviation Tech Training Program. This program can prepare students for an in-demand career in aeronautics, HVAC, aviation, and aerospace industry, along with the Olive Harvey College Aviation Sheet Metal Tech Training. City Colleges is partnering with AAR, a global provider of aviation services, to give students access to real-life work experience and job-ready skills. Students will receive hands-on training, job shadowing, mentoring opportunities, and have the opportunity to get certified. And when they complete the program, they can apply for entry-level positions immediately in areas such as HVAC, metal packaging, and more. This program is housed right here at the TDL Evolution Center, and it's just one of many of the programs that Olive Harvey College has to offer. This is exactly what we had in mind when we worked so diligently on this workforce development training process. While we have made significant progress towards expanding workforce development opportunities, there's still much work to do. I look forward to continuing that work along with my colleagues and the governor's office. And with that, I'd like to introduce one of those stakeholders that we've met so many times with, Ms. Robin Steans. Thank you.
I feel a little naked without all my slides, so bear with me. Good afternoon. I'm really delighted to be here. The mission of Advance Illinois, we're an independent nonprofit that works on education policy and advocacy. Our mission is to make sure that every child has strong educational opportunities and outcomes. And if that's our mission, how could we be other than incredibly honored to join this group today with the governor, the lieutenant governor, and the Black Caucus to celebrate the signing of Education Workforce Equity Act. And you've already heard about some of what it does and why people are excited. I just want to offer two notes that maybe haven't come up. And I want to do that by way of first thanking the leadership, not only of Representative Ammons, but of Leader Lightford, who I am a long-standing fan. Her passion, her commitment to kids is long-standing. We've worked together for nearly 15 years, and it shows up every day in every possible way. And to see that picked up by the entirety of the Black Caucus has been something remarkable. But there are two things I think this bill does that are unusual. One, the reality is that if you care about longstanding injustice and inequities in education, if you want every kid to do well, you've got to recognize that we got here over generations, and we're not going to solve this quickly. There is no magic bullet answer to resolve generations of things being done inequitably and wrongly. And so you've got to do two things. One, you have to take the broad view, and this bill does that. It not only strengthens early interventions for our youngest learners in birth to 3, as the governor mentioned, but it goes out of its way to make sure that we are strengthening ability to bring in adults who have stopped out of the education system back in, and then everything in between. Taking that long view, I deeply appreciate. But the second thing is that the bill does things in the here and now. It does, in fact, expand early intervention services. It does, in fact, require that we make more accelerated courses available to Black and brown students, that we make sure that Black and brown students have access to courses that are going to be required for college admission in a way that we haven't before. It makes sure that we, in fact, are making it easier for students to start their post-secondary without remedial coursework, which is going to cost money, not get them credits, and make it more likely that they're going to drop out. It does all of those things, but it does something else. For every one of the things that it solves in the here and now, it lays tracks for the work we still have to do. It leaves us on the hook to continue to make the progress that we know is going to be necessary, not just now, but over the next 20, 30, 40 years. So it also does, it signs on and signals. The Governor Commission on Early Childhood Equity and Funding is coming out. Those are recommendations. We're going to need to move on. It says so. It makes sure that not only are we making that more rigorous coursework available, but we need to make sure there's equity in funding in higher education. Not only do we need to make that rigorous coursework available, but there's a task force to make sure we have clear, hard-hitting recommendations for bringing trauma-informed practice and social and emotional learning into everyday classrooms and schools across the state. So I want to applaud the Black Caucus and the leadership, not just for dealing with immediate issues, but for setting us on a path for the work to come in the next few decades. So it is appropriate that we're celebrating. It is even more appropriate that we're celebrating here at Olive Harvey. But the next best thing to do is put our shoulders back to the wheel, get back to work, and onward. And with that, I would love to bring somebody who never has heard the word other than onward, and that is Jack Wiese, who heads the Alternative Schools Network.
I was going to say good morning, good afternoon. I want to thank the governor, LG, Kim, Marcus, Nick, and Cam. This is a leadership group that really got stuff done. Kim's done this. I've worked with Kim for at least 15 years. We've gotten a lot of things done. The other thing is that the Alternative Schools Network are small schools. There's 20 of them across the city. One is right here at Olive Harvey Middle College. There are about 150 students, get students off the street who are out of school, get them into their skills, the social skills, academic skills, to get a high school diploma, and they get a new future doing that. Not only from just having hope, but they're going to make more money. They're going to be better workers. So that's one thing. That's who we are, and that's what we've done. And we've gotten great support for everybody here sitting, all the legislators, Governor, and Juliana. And I want to thank you, and Juan. We've worked together with Juan for a long time. There's a Margaret Mead quote that says, "A handful of people can change the world," and she has, in fact, that's the only thing that really does. And so the group of leaders in the Black Caucus is a little more than a handful of people, but they've really made a real difference and a real change in major areas that need to be helping people to move forward with their lives. The other thing I would say for Governor Pritzker and for President Biden, we are really seeing people who govern for a change. You know, it's been a long time. What we've seen at the Rescue Act and we're going to see at the Recovery Act is real governance. And with all the things you've done, Governor Pritzker, it's real governance. And it means, you know, in Chicago, getting everybody a chicken in their pot, it means helping people in their personal lives move forward, and you've done that. So has President Biden. What I'd say briefly is that the work that we're focusing on is in the evidence-based model legislation pushed by Will Davis and Andy Minar and others was revolutionary. I don't know of many pieces of legislation where any governments, any school districts would say, well, I don't need that money as much as these people need that money, which is an amazing accomplishment. One thing that we need to add to that is in other evidence-based model studies around the country, it included alternative schools for students who are struggling and were out of school. It's an important thing. I've been talking to Senator Lightford and Robin. We're going to work on that, and that will be another way to get students who are on the street off. And lastly, the payoff for that is enormous. The kids feel hope. We had a chance to sit down with Governor Pritzker about 3 years ago. You talked about your childhood and the struggles you had, and it really moved them in terms of what they go through and their struggles and your success. The payoff for the students is they become successful adults. Secondly, it's going to help our economy become stronger because before the COVID, there were worker shortages, and the economy is going to grow enormously, and there are going to be worker shortages. So we need every hand on deck to the young people we work with and all the young people benefiting from work you've done and the governor's done and the pillars will provide the workers who companies will desperately need. That will strengthen our economy. Third, it will make for stronger neighborhoods. You've got, in the country, almost 50% of all young black males and females, 20 to 24, are jobless. Jobless. They're out of school at the time they should be grabbing life by the scruff of the neck. It's 37% for Hispanic and 33% for white. They need a hand to get up and move forward and make the neighborhoods become safer. Lastly, it's a big payoff for taxpayers. A student who's on the street comes back, gets a high school diploma, pays off taxpayers over their lifetime almost $300,000. They make more money, pay more taxes, they use the health, welfare, and prison systems less. This is all research, so it's a big benefit on 4 different points. And I want to thank the leadership for people here who have made that possible and made futures for people, young people, real future that they see coming down the road for them. Thanks again.
That's all right. I got it all. I'll introduce. Yeah. Well, Sarah, come on up, Sarah. Sarah Labadie. That was Jack Wiese.
Good morning, everybody. I'm so proud to represent Women Employed here today. We are a 48-year-old nonprofit advocacy organization that's mission is to improve the economic status of women and to remove barriers to economic equity. It's a great day to recognize and celebrate the incredible work done by the Illinois Legislative Black Caucus and by our governor and lieutenant governor in signing the bill. Especially, I want to talk about the work to address racial equity in higher education that was championed by Leader Lightford and Leader Carol Ammons. It's impossible to ignore that our system is failing students when 71 out of every 100 black students in our community college system end up in developmental education, and only 6 of them go on to graduate. While issues with college readiness don't begin in higher ed, our post-secondary system must do more to ensure student success. And the Education and Workforce Equity Act helps place students in the courses that match their abilities. It also asks institutions to develop plans to reform developmental education and move students through it and on to graduation using evidence-based models and approaches. Across the board, higher education outcomes for black students are not on par with their white peers because the system is not designed to support them. We need to radically shift the way we distribute resources, which programs and services we prioritize, and which students we give our time and attention. Illinois is taking steps to improve racial equity and close equity gaps in post-secondary education, supported by the Education, Workforce, and Equity Act. We're excited to see how the work evolves and what comes next. The Education and Workforce Equity Act is a strong first step, as Robin mentioned. It's the first step toward reshaping our system to focus on students that have been overlooked for far too long. Congratulations to all the advocates and the legislators who supported this legislation and fought for it. We look forward to continuing to work together to ensure our system supports all our students, especially our students of color. And with that, I will invite our governor up to take questions.
Happy to take any questions from members of the media. Yep, thank you.